Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing out there? Oh, I think I got everything sorted out. Please let me know if you can't hear me. Looks like you can see me, at least on Twitch. There YouTube goes. Hey, gotta love that delay. Happy Friday. Happy Friday of a long weekend. I hope you're all doing well. I just thought I would hop on here and hang out for a little bit tonight. I haven't streamed in what feels like forever. I think the last time I streamed was ranking the BGG top 100, and I ranked them, and that was so long ago. That was definitely before Gen Con, before going to Gamers Ranch and everything. So yeah, I just wanted to check in and hang out with all of you and see what's going on with you. Tell you a bit more about Gen Con and YouTube is being super fun. Oh, no. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, what is your problem tonight? YouTube? Twitch, I'm assuming. I mean, your Twitch looks fine, so YouTube, sort yourself out. If anyone over on YouTube land can let me know if you're having issues. I mean, it looks fine to me. Anyway, I can't remember what I was talking about, but yeah, just wanted to check in, see how all of you are doing. I had a playtest last night. That I also would like to chat about, slightly rant about. Not too much because I don't want to dwell on it, but I had this one playtester who was very, I guess you could say, dismissive and rude last night, and I'm trying to not be too bothered by it, but it definitely bothered me. Yeah, he was just, a bit condescending. I don't want to dwell on it too much, but it has been bothering me. Anyway, so I had a playtest last night. I had 2 playtests last night, and sometimes I feel like people don't quite realize how much effort goes into creating the prototypes that we make and preparing for playtests and all of that. I don't know if this person designs games. I'd never seen them before. I don't know if they just stumbled across this and just decided to check it out. But he gave the vibe like he was expecting a published game, and I was just teaching the rules of how to play this game. And so he would ask very specific questions about, what if I do this, 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 and that? And if I didn't have the answer right away, like a perfect, clear answer to his question, he would repeat it and get annoyed that I didn't know the answer off the top of my head. The rules are evolving. They're constantly evolving when you're playtesting and prototyping. And it's when you ask a very specific question for something I had maybe just added a few hours before, which was the case yesterday, I might need a second to remember what my current rules are for that situation, or come up with something if maybe I hadn't anticipated something like that happening. But he would just keep repeating the question and getting annoyed that I didn't have the perfect answer right off the top of my head. And I found it, very stressful, because I'm dude, this is a work in progress. I'm not showing you a finished game here. I am still figuring things out. I might not have the answer to all of your questions, and that's okay. But he was getting annoyed that I didn't have the answers to all of his questions. And then he did say one thing that was really, really bothered me. I'm just going to share it with you just because I'm venting. Yeah, he said, so do our abilities activate immediately or at the start of our next turn? And I said, immediately. And he said, they really should activate at the start of your next turn. That's how it works in pretty much every board game. Woo! Yeah. Every board game, apparently. He knew. how every board game treats activating abilities, and it's always at the start of your next turn. I tried, engaging with, in my previous playtests, playtesters liked how the abilities activated right away so they could have a big turn on their last turn at the end of the game. That didn't seem to really matter. So all of the abilities activated at the start of the next turn because he was pretty adamant about that. So I just felt a little bit like my playtest was kind of out of my control, kind of like slipping out of my fingers, which isn't, the best feeling. I don't know if any of you have dealt with someone like that. I have dealt with people like that before, but just coming off of the Gamers Ranch where everyone was just so helpful with their critiques. Like this person was just like complaining about things rather than giving helpful critiques or feedback. They would just be like, well, obviously that's, like, obviously I don't have anything good to do on my turn because blah, blah, blah. Like, just like complaining the whole time. So that energy was very different from what I was coming off of Gamers Ranch. I ran 2 playtests at Gamers Ranch with 8 different people, and every person was just so helpful with their feedback. Like, I don't need you to be, you don't need to sugarcoat it or anything like that. But, you don't need to be rude and you don't need to be like annoyed. And yeah. So anyway, I don't know if any of you have dealt with a rude playtester. I'm sure you have. Please tell me your stories because I want to commiserate in my misery. Anyway, I'm not going to dwell on that. The playtest overall, they were fine. Going into them, I genuinely felt, and I feel like this is one of the things about me that helps me a lot with game design. I genuinely felt like all the changes that I have made will fix everything, and everything's going to go so smoothly, and I'm so excited to test it. You can guess how it went. A lot of things did go well, though. So besides that guy kind of overshadowing things and making things very negative and just like a negative feel for the whole playtest, I really tried to focus on, what good things happened? And some really good things did happen. One of the main things is that I was able to run through 2 complete games of this game. And until yesterday, these playthroughs were taking like over 2 hours. It was very slow. Like, it was fun, but to get things going was taking a really long time. So I was really excited to see the pacing. And like, it's an engine building game, so getting the engines going faster. Now I think they're actually going too fast. They're getting going too fast. So, but it's a minor sort of tweak back, minor sort of pull back. So I was very happy that I was able to do 2 complete games, including teaching the game last night. So that's a win. I'm going to take that as a win. Yeah. Of course, I came home and I had a million different ideas for all of the feedback that I got. But I reminded myself, because I sent out a newsletter a couple days ago, and I was talking about filtering through feedback. Because this is something, when you get a lot of comments, a lot of ideas pulling you in a million different directions, it can be really tough to decide what changes to make and how to actually proceed and what changes to make to your prototype for your next iteration. And so in my newsletter, and the link to join my newsletter is in my YouTube bio. I can share the link if anyone wants it, but the 3 main things were, so how to filter feedback. My number one thing was, after your playtest, to do something that will help calm your mind and calm your thoughts, and everything that's going on just kind of come down from the like frenzy of the playtest when you have all of these things coming at you. So I will usually go for a walk, or do something like do the dishes, do laundry, things like that. Something that will like calm your mind, and then just kind of let all of the feedback sort of settle. So that's like the first thing that I'll do. One thing that, I've heard some people might like to do too, and I can see it, is taking like a long bus ride, like just getting on a bus and just riding around and just noodling on things, thinking on things, reflecting on things, or going for a drive and then setting up an app, like a voice to text app, and you can just kind of talk things through as you're going for a drive. So whatever activity lets you kind of relax and calm your mind, try to do that right after your playtest. So I went for a long walk after last night's playtest, and so that was good. The other two things I mentioned in my newsletter that I like to do is, number one, when I'm thinking about the feedback that I get, I try to think about what problem is this trying to solve? What problem is this feedback trying to solve? Because a lot of people will just say, that doesn't work. I don't like that, blah, blah, blah. Or I wish maybe add this or do this or do that. Making suggestions. But if you think about what are these suggestions trying to fix and trying to really isolate the problem, and then you can decide what to then do about that issue. So like my game didn't have a ton of player interaction, so I added this thing where players could sell things at half price and then other players could buy them, but then they would pay the person who sold them. And why did I add that? Because I wanted more player interaction and I wanted it to feel a bit more thematic and whatever. So thinking about why am I adding this thing, but also thinking about when someone is giving this feedback, where is this feedback coming from? It's coming from a frustration, or it's coming from something they really like something and they want more of it. So when I got home last night, I would write down problem, blah, 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 solution, blah, 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 blah. And I'm trying to do that more when I'm writing out my thoughts, rather than just be like, what if I did this? And what if I did that? And let's try this, let's try that. Trying to think about the playtesters felt frustrated with this solution. Try this, like obviously more specific things, but thinking in that framework of what is a problem I'm trying to fix here? Or am I just changing things just because people told me that I should or suggested that I do? So that's a good approach to it that I find is helpful, to try to wade through all of these comments and all of these suggestions. The third thing is, if it's something that will make the game more fun and more streamlined, it's usually a good call. So obviously deciding if something is, hey, Graph Paper Architect, hello. Thanks for saying hi. So yeah, it's hard to quantify fun, obviously, but observing when players are most engaged and asking players at the end what their favorite moment was will usually tell you what things were most fun for the players, and when you play, in what moments are you most engaged. So trying to bring that out more. Any changes that you make that will bring that out more is usually a good way to go. And anything that will cut things and streamline things and make things less finicky, less fiddly is usually a good thing too. So of course, when you're playtesting and you're prototyping, you want to, throw everything out there, see what works, see what doesn't, and then cut things. Like, you don't have to worry about cutting things and streamlining things if it's your very first playtest. You want to throw a bunch of things out there, see what works, see what doesn't, but then you do want to get to a point where you are streamlining and cutting things. And so if a suggestion will help streamline things, then that's something that I will definitely consider and think, take a bit more seriously if it will increase the fun and decrease the fiddliness and make the game more streamlined. Those were the three things I mentioned in my newsletter, and I got some really great responses. Hey, Samurai. Hey. Is there anyone over in Twitch land want to say hello? Some people, though, responded to my newsletter, because my newsletter, I approach it as more like a letter, like a pen pal. So if you join my newsletter, I'm going to write you a letter every week. So I do it in the form of writing a letter, and then a lot of people write me back, because I want it to be a two-way thing, not just like this newsletter that I just send out to you, like at you. I want it to feel like a conversation. So I got some really great responses. I haven't been able to go through all of them yet, but a couple that I have, or I haven't been able to respond either, but I have read a couple. And there was a common, both of them said the same thing, which was, if you hear the same suggestion or the same feedback multiple times, to take that more seriously. And I have mentioned that in a couple of videos as well, and I fully agree with that. Hey, John, how's it going? That, yeah, if you're hearing the same feedback from different people multiple times, then that is definitely something to consider. If it's like this suggestion completely out of left field, it's not solving a clear problem that the game has, it's only been suggested by one person and not from anyone else, it doesn't increase the fun, it doesn't streamline the game, then you know what? You can ignore that. You can ignore that. So yeah, trying to wade through piles and piles of comments and feedback can be pretty daunting. And you know, letting yourself wallow in self-pity is totally fine. You know, I definitely let myself feel what I felt last night and today, partly due to that rude playtester that was at my table last night, but also just because the game did not work as perfectly as I thought it would, and that was disappointing. And it is disappointing when you think that your game finally might be done. I don't know why, after all these years, I still think that a game will ever be done, first of all, but secondly, that I think a game will work perfectly after I make these changes. Like, and you know what? Sometimes it does. And when it does, it's very, very, very exciting. And also, I think it does depend on who you playtest with, because some people will just always find things that they don't like. But what I am going to do moving forward, and I've been starting to do this more and more, but I think I really need to focus on it, is really prioritize solo playtesting like a few times before I show it to other people. So I playtested this game at Gamers Ranch twice, and then I made updates based on that feedback, and then I playtested last night 2 times. I did not solo playtest the changes that I made after Gamers Ranch and before I playtested last night. And I feel like I could have, you know, smoothed some things out if I had playtested on my own before showing it to other people. There was a bit of a time crunch, yada, yada, yada. I didn't do that. But I'm really going to focus on making the game fun for me. If I'm really enjoying playing it solo, then I think I have a much higher chance of being successful at my next playtest with other people. So that seems like an obvious thing to say, but you know, sometimes, and until like recently, I've just been make changes, playtest with other people. Make changes, playtest with other people. I would sometimes solo playtest, but like honestly not that much. So I'm really moving forward. I think I really need to playtest my games solo after every major change, like iteration, before I show it to other people. That'll save me, I think, a lot of headaches, and it will help me smooth out some, you know, things that might not, that like obvious things that might not work when I playtest other people. But how are you all doing out there? Have you had like a playtest where that you thought was going to go really, really well? You thought you had solved everything, and then you playtested it, and it was like, nope. I know someone messaged me on Instagram today. I think it was Joe, said that they had that exact situation happen to them last night as well. So I know it's not me. I know I'm not special in this. We're all in this together. But sometimes it can feel like it's just you who, is dealing with these things. So that's another reason I wanted to stream tonight too. Is just like, you know, we can trauma bond on this. Because I know you all understand. So we are getting close to closed alpha testing, and I'm considering writing up a questions form and asking them to fill it out. Do you have success with feedback forms? Yeah. When I first was, taking my game design seriously, about 10 years ago, I did make questionnaires and I had people fill them out. And I do know that, publishers will use questionnaires. Like I know Ravensburger has a questionnaire, and I know a lot of people use questionnaires. I personally don't anymore, just because, what really is the reason? I guess I guess it's because I don't want to make people feel like they have to do homework. Like I kind of want people to feel as relaxed as possible, to share as much as they can, and then I just frantically write everything down. So I do see the value of questionnaires because, it gives people time to kind of reflect and write out their thoughts, and then you have that, data that you can keep organized, and you don't have to write everything down, and then you can get, their rating of like how much they want to play again and things like that. And so I actually am using a questionnaire for my mobile game playtesting. Me and my development partner, we are sending out the game for people to play, and then we're getting them to fill out a Google form. And so I don't know if you're doing a Google form. I would do that rather than like a written questionnaire, just because then you have all the data in a spreadsheet, which is really nice. But, getting people to remember to go to this link and fill it out on their phone or on the computer, it might be a big ask. But because it's a mobile game, it makes sense. They're already on their computer to play the game. They can stay on their computer to fill out the form. So that has been very successful and very helpful to see that data. And so if you're doing a questionnaire, make sure you ask, how much do people want to play your game again? That is probably the number one way to see if you're on the right path. And I feel like, when people write out questionnaires, they can be a bit more honest rather than to your face. So that's another good thing about questionnaires. So in my questionnaire for my mobile game, I would ask, I can maybe bring it up to see. I can't remember what my questions are. No, I'll just try to remember. So basically, how much would you want to play again? Do you think this game has potential? Should we continue to work on it, or should we work on something else? Thoughts on specific mechanics in that iteration. I asked what was the strongest aspect of the game and what was the weakest aspect of the game. And you can really find some interesting information from there. So I think you can get a lot out of questionnaires. For me, I've just evolved. I think mainly I've evolved away from them just because I just noticed, when I started out, I was using questionnaires because it makes sense. It made sense to me that after a playtest, you just get everyone to write out a questionnaire, you gather that feedback, and you file it away, and it's nice and organized. And then I just noticed that no one else was really doing that in the space. Like, no other designers were doing that. So then I just kind of stopped. And so there's no real good reason that I stopped, besides the fact that I just didn't see a lot of other people doing it. I can see a lot of value, and I did see a lot of value in having questionnaires. So I think it's just personal preference, really. So I think, it can be helpful. I have been enjoying it for my mobile game, just to see quantitatively how many people would want to play my game again. And seeing that in graph form and everything too is nice with the Google Forms. So best of luck with that. Very exciting. Thank you for the question. If anyone else has the question, feel free to throw it out there. Otherwise, I'll just keep rambling. I have to tell you, though, that I am feeling a lot better just about the rude playtester that I dealt with last night. I feel a lot better just having vented at you for 20 minutes. Hey, Mike, how's it going? Hey, everybody. Yes. So you're saying, yes, we had some of the first ones where we didn't even get through the first encounter and learned a lot. Yeah. Like, you mean you didn't even get through the first encounter of your playtest and you learned a lot? Yeah. So, yeah. Just trying to think. Yeah, I wanted to talk about. So we're talking about filtering through feedback and dealing with feedback and just feeling, after a playtest doesn't go as well as you're hoping it would, and feeling disappointed and feeling a bit honestly, last night I felt a bit you know what? I think I might just shelf this game and just move on to something else. which is ridiculous. Like, I know there's a lot of potential there, but when you get just like negative people and they're just like complaining about like so many things in the game, it can be hard to continue to feel motivated to continue to work on it. But yeah, I need to just focus on all the positive things that people did say. Sometimes I can let one negative thing overshadow 10 positive things, you know? And so, but after a playtest doesn't go as well as you hoped it would in your head, I definitely deal with, the existential crisis of, what am I doing? Why do I even bother? Maybe I'll take up a completely different hobby. And it's okay to let yourself feel like that. And so I felt like that last night. I was up till like 3 a.m. I scribbled out. This is I don't even know if you can see that. Scribbled out like all these things for like a player mat based on the feedback I got last night, and just like try to get these thoughts out of my head so I can try to go to sleep. But I did type out some things of like, okay, this is what I'll try next time. These are the changes that I'll make. Just get it out of my head onto paper so that I can go to sleep. And I eventually did, but it's really tough to go to sleep right after 2 playtests back to back, especially. Yeah. So but yeah. Just focusing on like all the positive the positive things from my own observations and also people's feedback. And the second playtest I did last night, I actually played. So I got to, experience the game myself from a player's perspective. I got to see what did I enjoy? How did it feel as a player for me? So that was a good reminder that, yeah, I'm still enjoying playing this game. And at the end of the day, that's really all that matters. Sometimes it's hard to forget or easy to forget that these are just board games. It's not that serious. It's not that serious. But yeah. Let's talk about Gamers Ranch and how amazing that place is. And I always hesitate to share stuff like that because I don't want to make anyone feel bad or feel FOMO or feel left out or feel like jealous or, all these sorts of things. But I did, just want to share, mainly hear from all the other designers who were there. There was just such a great group of people there, amazing people that I got to meet, and just hearing from them about what made the weekend special for them. But yeah, man, if I won the lottery, you can bet I would buy a house like that. But apparently they built the house with the intention of it being like a board game heaven. They dug out the lake. That's a man-made lake. They dug out the lake. They built a disc golf course. They built the whole house with the intention of it being like a board gamer's paradise. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true, but I mean, it seems like it. It seems like it was built exactly for that, which is pretty amazing. And I have said before that, yeah, if I was a millionaire, I would want to buy a house and have it set up for anyone to come and work on games for as long as they wanted to. You can stay as long as you want, work on whatever you want, have food, have whatever. Maybe I might need to put a month-long limit on that, but that would just be so nice. And so this person is actually doing it. I mean, slightly differently. It's a rentable space, and it's for board gamers specifically, not board game designers specifically. But the hosts of the retreat, they did a really fantastic job setting it up for us designers. Having that whole prototyping supply area was amazing. I got a board. They had a bunch of helpful things there. I got a brand new board here. I have some things written on it. You can't see it in pencil, but very nice. Because my other board that I've been using, this one, remember how this is my old Tribond board, and I covered this side for one prototype, and I was like, I'm gonna be so smart, and I'm gonna add another game on the other side. Look how smart I am. And yes, in general, it was a smart idea, but at Gamers Ranch, I pitched both of these games, and so I had this game set out on the table, pitched it to the publisher, and then I had to dump everything off, flip to the other side, and then quickly set up this game to pitch right after. That was a bit awkward. That didn't work so well. And that made me rethink the whole double-sided prototype board, for sure. Yeah, a test that went awry. Thank you for sharing that, honestly. So, Architect is just saying that they had a test that went awry. And, you know, us just sharing with each other that not every test goes perfectly, you know. It's just a nice reminder that we're all in this together. You know, a lot of things do not work out, and that's just part of the process, but not feeling like you're alone, you know, like designing board games, especially a solo game, like, well, I'm a single game designer. I don't have co-designers. It can feel like you're on your own a lot, you know, that you're just dealing with these things completely on your own. So it's nice to, you know, share with each other, you know, our experiences of things not going so well. Yeah. So it's just all part of the process. And, you know, you would think that I would be very, very used to this after so many years, but I think it was just mainly that one dude just threw me off. If he wasn't there, I don't think I would be this, like, upset. I'm not even that upset, but I'm just kind of like, I don't know, a bit frustrated. But I am excited for the changes I'm going to make after taking the approach of, what problem am I trying to fix? Let's try this. What problem did I see? Let's try this. Wrote a bunch of those out last night. I have a whole list of changes I want to make. I'm going to try to do them as quick and dirty as possible. Rapid prototype another one. Solo play test it. And maybe that one will be perfect. But I will say that I have pitched this game already to 5 publishers now. And you might think, like, why are you pitching this? You're still changing so many things. But it's like, the core concept has not changed. These are all just different ways that the system works together. And so I felt comfortable pitching it. And then if a publisher is interested, you know, I would continue developing it. And I do want to solidify some of these changes before I follow up with any of those publishers who showed interest, just because I don't want to still be making such drastic changes if we're talking about, like, signing the game. So I want to figure out some of those things soon, follow up with the publishers, and then if they're interested, we can continue to develop it. And, you know, some publishers like to help that last, like, 10%, that last 10% of the development. They like to do that. And one of the publishers I know who I pitched to, I know they like to take on that development and work together to sort of polish it, that last 10%. So that's why I felt, like, comfortable pitching it in the state that it is in. So we'll see. But yeah, I think that's maybe that's also part of why I was a bit more disappointed than usual last night, because I know that there's some publisher interest. I want to get this game pretty much finalized soon. And so to have, you know, several things just not, well, I mean, I guess I'm still just going off of the playtester feedback, but from my own observations, things did actually work fairly well. Obviously, some things could be done better, but the pacing's getting a lot better. The core system works. It's just, you know, fitting those last little jigsaw pieces together to make the puzzle complete. I feel like I'm close, but we will see. We will see. But is anyone else working on a game that they're really excited about? Tell me about any game that you're working on, you're excited about, or any game that you've played recently that you really enjoyed. I played some awesome games at Gamers Ranch. I realized I didn't play a ton when I added my games to BG Stats. I don't know if you all have this app. It's great. It's called BG Stats, and it's a great place, really easy to log your plays. I can show you here. Sometimes, games, recent plays. Here, okay. That's what I played in like the month of August. Is that out of focus? There we go. So I played The Pursuit of Happiness, Hadara, Nar, and White Castle and Mycelia at Gamers Ranch. And then in St. Louis, I played Crokinole, Quacks of Quedlinburg, Get Bit, and Everdell. And actually, a few more. What is it? I played Dungeon Maker Deluxe, Fairy, So Clover, Blob Party, Skyjo, Scythe, and then these other ones are from like months ago. I really enjoyed White Castle. I have to tell you, really, really, really enjoyed it. I lost pretty badly, but I still really enjoyed it. I think, there's a lot going on. So I think, that first game, I was still wrapping my head around the rules and all of my options. There's a lot of options, a lot of different strategies, and there's only 9 turns. So you only have 9 turns to do everything that you want to do. But obviously, towards the end of the game, you can do a lot more. But one of my last turns, I just did one thing, and I was like, I'm not doing this right. But I really liked it. So that was White Castle. I really, really liked Hadara. I had never heard of this game, Hadara. Have you all heard of this game? It came out in, I think it was 2016 or 2019. I could pull it up here. That's what the box looks like. But it's like, I think it was described as an economic game. And you're basically drafting cards. You're all taking turns to draft all these cards that will bump up different abilities, that will allow you to do different things. But yeah, it's an interesting drafting system where it's like you would draw 2 from a deck, choose one to keep, and then the other one goes back on a face-up pile. Then the second phase, everyone chooses one of the face-up cards until they're all gone. So it's an interesting drafting system that I haven't really seen in a game before. So that was cool. And then they had this one deck, the purple cards, that gave you fun abilities. And I really liked those. I was going hard for those ones. Again, did not win, but really enjoyed it. And then Nar. I really liked Nar. This is a very simple game, but very clever, and it's just a very streamlined gameplay, but very interesting choices, and everything works very well together, and I really liked it. So you're basically, the theme is like, not very it doesn't really matter. It could literally be anything. It's not very Viking-like. You don't feel like you're a Viking. But, there's beautiful art and stuff, but it's completely unnecessary. It could literally be anything. But the system beneath it is very cool. You're just playing a card. Let's see if I can remember. You're just playing a card in front of you, and then taking the matching color from, like, the market. So it's also like a drafting game. I'm sure that's probably not completely accurate, but it's along those lines where you're just playing a card, draft a card. It's very simple gameplay, but depending on the symbols on the cards, those will allow you to do different things and collect different things to then get better card, or like different cards that will then give you more stuff. I'm not explaining it very well, but it's a very cool game. If any of you have played Nar, let me know. I really really, I was not expecting anything. I played it and I was like, ooh. But you know, it's like Splendor. It could literally be any theme, but the art was beautiful. Mycelia was a surprise to me. I don't know why I thought I just wouldn't really like it. I'm not sure, but I really liked it. It was cool. It's kind of like an abstract sort of game. You're just like pushing things around and trying to get them to a certain spot on this grid, and trying to remove all of the dewdrops from your garden. It has actually nothing to do with mushrooms. But there's a big mushroom on the front of the box. I'll show you this one. Very cute art, but yeah, it's just more to do with removing dewdrops from your, that's out of focus, but you get the idea. Removing dewdrops from your little garden. It was interesting. It was also a deck builder, which I did not realize. Very cool deck builder. And what I liked about it that was different from other deck builders that I've played is that you always draw 3 cards and then you always play all 3 of your cards. What you can decide on is the order that you play them. And then, you know, if you can't do something, it's fine. It still is discarded. I liked that because it was very quick paced. You know, in some deck builders, you draw, then you decide which ones you're going to play, and then you draw back up, and you have like kind of like dead cards taking up spots in your hand. But this one is like you draw 3, you play 3, you draw 3, you play 3. It was very fast paced, which I really enjoyed. Thank you. It says, don't let the troll testers get you down. Some people are just nasty. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope you have a good night. And you'd build a full clue house. That would be fun. So like if you won the lottery, you would build a real life clue house. That's really cool. I wonder if there's an Airbnb already set up like that somewhere in the world. Maybe. That would be really cool. But yeah, thank you. He did feel like a troll, I have to say. It did feel like a troll. But yeah, can't let the trolls get you down. But how is everyone else doing out there? I'm just chatty over here. I want to hear what's going on with you. Have you played any good games lately? How are your designs going? Do you have a game that you're working on that you're excited about? What other games did I play? Oh, The Pursuit of Happiness. I don't know if you all have heard of this one as well. It's a bit of an older game, I believe. Focus? Well, you get the idea. So this is in comparison to last night's Troll. A playtester at Gamers Ranch named Amanda. She's super awesome. She playtested my game, and she was like, have you heard of the game Pursuit of Happiness? You might want to play it just because I can see some similarities, and you might, you know, see some things that works in that game that can maybe work in your game. And so she took the time to find it at Gamers Ranch, set it up, and taught me how to play, and we played a few rounds. And I definitely saw the similarities, and I was just so appreciative of that kind of feedback. You know, that's helpful. That's helpful, constructive feedback. So that was appreciated. And so I definitely like how everything works together in The Pursuit of Happiness. So it also is a card drafting game, which my game is. Not too much of, I guess it's a little bit of an engine builder kind of, and like worker placement. And my game's not worker placement, but there were a lot of really interesting things that how things work together and how they integrated the mechanics into the theme in really cute ways. And so basically, yeah, it's like an updated version of the game Life, where you can draft different projects that you want to work on, different jobs that you want to have, different things you want to buy. Like you can draft people to have relationships with, but then you have to dedicate, you know, time and creativity and money and whatever into different all the different things you have going on in your life. And if you overextend yourself, then you'll get stressed and you'll move down the stress track, and that's bad. And then you're like you're aging through like 9 rounds or whatever. And as you get older, you just naturally have more stress, and you're trying to mitigate that. And if you didn't take care of your health when you were younger, when you're older, that becomes a real issue. Just little things like that. It was very clever. I had never heard of it before. I don't know if any of you have heard of the Pursuit of Happiness game, but let's see who designed that one. That was David Cherkop and Adrian Abella with Vangelis Badgiatarkis from Stronghold Games. I had never heard of it, but it was super clever. There were just so many games at Gamers Ranch. Obviously, it's impossible to play everything, but I realized I only played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games there. But I mean, obviously, wanted to prioritize playtesting, and we also had talks. Like Connie Vogelman, the designer of Wormspan and Apiary, she gave a talk about prototyping, like prototyping tips. And her biggest piece of advice was to find your own Nandeck. So I don't know if you've heard of Nandeck, Nandeck, but it is a program that's only available on Windows, unfortunately. But it is a program that you can use to connect to spreadsheets, and then it will pull the information from the spreadsheet into card formats or board formats, and then you can then print those or turn them into digital prototypes on Tabletop Simulator or Tabletopia, something like that. So I've heard a lot about Nandeck, and I have heard that, there is a bit of a learning curve. Connie said that she spent at least 8 hours learning how to use the program. But she said, find a program like that works for you. That's her number one takeaway. This is coming from the designer of Wormspan. And if you've played Wormspan, you know how many cards are in Wormspan. I can't imagine trying to prototype a game with that many cards using Google Draw like I do, or other programs where it's not linked to a spreadsheet, so that you can update an entire column and it updates every single card that has that field on the card. So it was pointed out, though, that, Nandeck only works for Windows. I do have a PC, so I could use it, but I am actually interested in a program called Dexterous. And I know I've mentioned this before, but Dexterous, Dextrous. It is web-based, I believe, and it connects with Google Sheets, and that's the program that I use. And it looks super intuitive, and it has a free account that you can make, and then if you have a certain number of projects, then you have to start to pay. But I have met with the person who created Dexterous, and he's like super nice. And so I want to support him, but also just because it looks like a great program. So that is on my to-do list, but it's just I could spend a few hours learning how to do that and to set that all up. Or I just update my cards manually because I don't have a ton of cards in any of my games. But I know, this is just reinforcing, I know, I need to find my own Nandeck. Hey Greg, how's it going? So I'm designing a solitaire Mancala game, and the core system worked so well within the first 36 hours. Unprecedented for me. I may be trying to over-design it now while I wait for BGG contest to conclude. Oh my goodness. On YouTube, can you not see me? Oh my gosh, YouTube, you are being so annoying. Oh no. What the heck? Okay, people in YouTube land, please let me know if you can see me, because on my screen... Oh wait. It doesn't look like the video is working. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm going to assume that the video is working and just answer this question. So, or just talk about what's happening here. So that is so awesome, Greg. I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but it is just showing the thumbnail from my last stream and not my video, but whatever. So, that's very exciting that everything worked well for you within the first 36 hours. That is super, super exciting. And I'm so happy for you. Small form factor for NAR. What does that mean, small form factor? Over on Twitchland, hello. Nice to see you all. Moon, how's it going? I know it's been forever. Man, I love Twitch. YouTube, no offense, but you suck. Like, I don't know why your video is not working, but if you want to go over on Twitch, it's totally fine. But anyway, nice to see you, Moon. Okay, so Dan, hey Dan, how's it going? I've been busy with work and family stuff. I'm working on a new prototype, a boss battler-like game with a twist in the way you fight. Today, I printed a version of the Gummins prototype for IRL testing. I'll be posting pics of it when it's finished. Yay! That's so awesome, Dan. So, sorry, sometimes I know I read those comments quickly and it's hard to understand what I'm saying, but Dan was just saying that he's working on a new prototype, a boss battler game, and also is printing a physical prototype of his game Gummins that I have play tested. And it is super cute, but so smart, like so clever. The way that the whole system works together, it's very, very cute. So I'm very excited that you are printing that to playtest IRL. Best of luck with that. I'm sure you'll get a lot of feedback with in-person playtesting, body language, seeing how people are, you know, are they really engaged with the game? Are they thinking about what they're going to do on their next turn when it's not their turn? Or are they distracted and looking at their phone, things like that. Things that you can't see when you're testing digitally. So I'm very excited for you. And I'm very excited for your new game, boss battler-like game with a twist in the way you fight. Very excited for that. But people over in YouTube land, can you please let me know if you can see me? Because it seems like you can't. Did you get any... So Moon is asking, did you get any Courier City playtests in? No, I think Courier City is... That ship has sailed. I think that ship has sailed. I was thinking about... Actually, no, that brings up a good point, Moon. Thank you for bringing that up. What I think I'm going to do is make like a page on my website that's like games looking for homes, you know? So basically my portfolio of unsigned games. And so I think I'll throw Courier City up there. So if like, I'm assuming a lot of you don't know, but this is a game that I made up, that I came up with like during COVID. So, you know, over 4 years ago, about bike couriers, because I was a courier at the time. And you're doing deliveries all around the city. And I really enjoyed it. Playtesters enjoyed it, but I could not get it signed. I mean, I pitched it to probably, I would say between 5 and 10 publishers. I can't remember exactly, but I feel like I pitched it quite a bit, and it was all no, 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 no. So I just kind of shelved it. But I still really do enjoy it, and so I think what I'll do is put it up on my website, and then, you know, along with other games that I haven't signed that I like my game that was canceled a couple weeks ago. That was pretty far along in the development process. It was a finished game. It just needs a different theme. I could throw that one up there, and then I'll have to think, but those are the two that really popped to my brain of games that I've made that are done that haven't been picked up that could be. So I will I'll do that. See. Hey Henry, how's it going? Henry, can you see my video, or is it just the thumbnail? Can you just hear me? So Henry's saying, it's satisfying to clear the board in Mycelia. Have you tried Fairy Ring? That was a surprisingly good mushroom game played at Gen Con. No, I haven't heard of Fairy Ring. I did play Fairy, but not Fairy Ring. And Fairy was, I mean, a very quick, cute game, but just, you know, a lot of, I guess you're kind of like reading people's body language a bit, but it was pretty almost entirely luck based, and that's not really my favorite. Get Bit was also another game where you're trying to avoid getting eaten by a shark, almost entirely luck based. So those were not my favorites, but I was very excited to finally play The Quacks of Quedlinburg. I've been wanting to play that forever, and I didn't realize it was a bag builder. So I have been wanting to make a game with bag building for a while, so it was cool to see like probably the best bag builder game, at least highest ranked probably on BGG. I feel like, okay, what if I do this? Does that fix YouTube at all? But yes, Henry, I agree that it is very satisfying to clear the board in Mycelia, like 100%. Yeah, there were a lot of things I really enjoyed about Mycelia. But it kind of feels like YouTube chat might be like way delayed. I don't know if anyone in Twitch land wants to hop over to YouTube and let me know what it looks like. Actually, I can do that. Bear with me here. I want to see what my stream looks like because it's bothering me. But Fairy Ring. So how do you play Fairy Ring? What's like the main mechanic in that? I guess I can also look it up. Okay. Thank you, Moon. And I also confirmed it. Yeah. I don't know why in like the YouTube studio it's just showing the thumbnail, but it looks like the video is okay. So, but thank you for confirming that. I appreciate you. Oh, Dan is saying that the video is lagging in YouTube. Okay, so is this my computer or is it you? Oh, you know what it might be? I changed my internet provider to a cheaper provider and maybe, I mean, it's not terrible. It's like still pretty good upload speed. I don't know why it would be like super laggy. Anyway, there were so many games at Gen Con. I haven't even heard of Fairy Ring. There was just like, it's so hard to keep up with all of the games that were released at Gen Con. Yeah, I'll just keep that up there to see, make sure the video's working. Are you a fan of chess? I do enjoy chess, actually. I hardly ever play it. My parents have a chessboard at their house, and my dad really likes chess. And so when I'm there, me and my dad will play chess. And sometimes what we'll do is like one of us will play, and then the other one will play like as the computer. So my dad has a chess app, and so like he'll make a move in real life on the board, and then like I'll put that in the app and then see what the computer does in response, and then I'll do that move in real life and then see, you know, we talk about what should he do next, and we're like playing against the computer together, and that was really fun. Then sometimes we'll play just him and I, and he always wins. Sometimes I win, but I enjoy chess a lot, and I want to play it more. I'm not like naturally good at it because I'm not the best at thinking about like so many different scenarios really quickly and figuring out the best strategy. I'm sure if I learned more about it and played it more, I would get better, obviously. But yeah, I enjoy it. Do you enjoy chess? Me and my dad sometimes will play like the chess app, like because they're in Calgary and I'm in Vancouver. We'll like play online. So that's cool too. But yeah, maybe I should get like, or maybe I should see if, I don't know. I was gonna say I should see if they could go to if there's like a chess tournament I could go to in Vancouver. But obviously in the very beginner level, or maybe just like a chill like chess meetup thing, and just try to learn more and just do it like socially. That would be fun. I did play Crokinole in St. Louis for the first time in many, many years with my friend Susanna. I don't know if you're watching, Susanna, but hey. And we went to this really cool board game cafe in St. Louis called Pieces that everyone was telling me, you have to go to Pieces. You have to go to Pieces. This is where Jamie Stegmaier has his designer day every year. Very cool board game cafe. I went there a couple times when I was in St. Louis. And when me and Susanna went, we played Quacks of Quedlinburg, which I was so stoked to finally play. And we played Crokinole. And so if you don't know, this is like a dexterity game where you're flicking discs into the center of this round board. And so it's kind of like curling. You're trying to get as close to the center as possible. And I was super into Crokinole when I was curling back when I lived in Toronto. And I would play in like tournaments and stuff, but just very social things, like just with my friends or like at pubs and stuff. And then just when I left Toronto, I moved to Vancouver, I just completely stopped, and I hadn't played Crokinole forever, but I still had it going. I won every game. And so, yeah, that was really fun. And so that made me think, oh, I should try to find a Crokinole league in Vancouver. That would be fun. We're going to be learning Nandeck for the card game design course I am taking. That's awesome, Mike. I'm glad that someone will be teaching you how to use it, so then hopefully it will be a little easier to pick up when you have someone to ask questions and someone to teach you, rather than trying to watch like YouTube tutorials, which can be, helpful. But if you have like an instructor showing you how to do it, then that's pretty nice. Yeah. So Moon is saying that I enjoy chess. I like the moments where I learn something new. Yeah, totally. And I don't know what's going on with YouTube. It seems like y'all are way behind in my stream. Let me see. For like, based on what your comments are saying, those are things I said like 20 minutes ago. Hey, people in YouTube land, please let me know if you can see me, because on my screen. Yeah, I think YouTube is like way behind. Oh my god. Hilarious. I wonder if I could like stop and start again, but that would be kind of probably annoying. Okay, so how about y'all just go over to Twitch? But I know you're gonna see me say this like 20 minutes from now that I'm not gonna be streaming anymore. But I would recommend following me on Twitch, because YouTube streaming sucks. Because my video looks totally fine on Twitch, so it can't be my internet speed. I blame it on YouTube. So yeah. So Henry's saying, I use InDesign with data merge for generating card sheets. It's great if you happen to already use the Adobe stuff. Yeah, I totally used InDesign years ago when I had the suite. It was covered by my work. I worked at a university, and they covered my InDesign suite. Then when I left that job, I didn't want to pay the monthly subscription, so I stopped. But I really enjoyed using InDesign and also Illustrator to make some fun graphics and stuff for my games. But I recommend Affinity Publisher as a budget alternative to InDesign. Ah, there you go. So I was just talking about how I don't use it because I don't want to pay the monthly subscription, but Affinity Publisher would be cool. Something to check out. Oh, I can see you, but there's a lag. Can see you. Video is buffering a lot on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube, y'all are way behind, so I don't know what to do about that. But what if you hold up a clock and ask YouTube what time it is when they see it? Well, I am Here, let me show you. Dan was just saying that this is. He's working on a new prototype of boss battler game, and also is So that is the current live stream. That is something I said like 15 minutes ago. So there's always something, isn't there? I honestly want to make streaming bingo and just be like, technical difficulties will be the center square because it always happens. Always happens. It's actually really annoying. So I think I might end the stream on YouTube and just keep chatting on Twitch, to be real. Like, I'm gonna write in the chat. Hey YouTube friends, the video is super lagging, so I'm going to keep chatting on Twitch and end this stream. Come on over there if you wanna keep hanging out. Da 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 da. Okay. Yeah. Audio levels should be on the bingo card or mic muted. 1,000% Moon. I know. Well, I mean, I said technical difficulties. That includes audio as well. So I guess we'll separate out video not working, audio not working. It's two separate squares, but both of those for sure will almost always happen. Okay, so I'm going to end the YouTube stream doing that. Your stream will stop immediately and you will no longer be live. Yeah, but it would still show all the stuff that's lagging, right? Like, I don't understand. Okay, I don't know. I'm just going to end the... I mean, I guess I could just I'll keep YouTube up, and I'm just going to ignore the YouTube. I don't know what to do. It's so annoying. I'm just going to focus on Twitch. If I see a comment on YouTube, I'll respond to it. But, yeah, I'm just going to focus on Twitch. Anyway. I did put a link to... Yeah, I put a link to Twitch on YouTube. I'm just going to keep the YouTube stream up and just keep it up if people want to keep watching there. But I'm going to focus on my Twitchers. How are y'all doing over here in real-time Twitch land? Hey, Greg, you made it over here. Excellent. Oh, there's a bunch of you over here. Yay, let's go. Isn't Twitch so much better? No offense, YouTube, but you suck. My goodness. Oh, so annoying. Like, anyway. I don't even know what we were talking about, to be real. Can y'all tell me about some other games that you've played recently that you've really enjoyed? Oh, I was talking about Crokinole a little bit and chess. Yeah, so I want to see if I can find maybe like a Crokinole chill social hang in Vancouver. That would be fun. Crocodile's super fun. I also want to maybe get back into curling. I don't know if anyone out there has curled, but it is so much fun. So much fun. It's way more fun to play than it is to watch. I will admit it can be a bit boring to watch, especially if you don't know the rules, but it is so much fun to play. And so I curled for many years when I was in Toronto. And so I either want to join a league or just play in like a Bonspiel, like a one-day curling tournament that's always a lot of fun and more just like social and not so serious, because some of the people in the curling leagues can take it a little bit seriously, and I would just want to do it for fun. Hey, Henry made it over here. Yay. Yeah, I appreciate you sticking through like you were making comments on things that I said so long ago on the YouTube stream, and I was like, what is happening? No, it's like super laggy on YouTube. Twitch is way, way, way better. And honestly, I've thought about just streaming on Twitch, and honestly, I think I might, because this might be the last straw for YouTube. For YouTube streaming, something goes wrong every single time. It is so annoying. And Twitch is like real time. Like if you say something to me, like I say something, it's going to be streamed pretty much immediately. So it actually feels like an actual conversation. I've curled, but not that kind of curling. What does that mean? You like this kind of curling? This kind of curling? Curling is so much fun. I highly recommend everyone try it out. If you have a curling rink near you, or you visit Canada, definitely check it out. And even try watching it. There's so much curling to watch, and it's going to start soon-ish. Curling season on TV starts like mid-September, and it goes until like April, so it's really nice. There's always a tournament going on. Last March, I went to a curling event in Calgary with my parents, and that was so much fun. And I got to see one of the best curlers in the world, and it was right before she retired. So that was really, really cool. So I love curling. It's so much fun. But yeah. What else? Oh, my not to flex, but my Dice Tower Award made it safely back to Vancouver. I was a little scared that it would get a little banged up in transit. Especially because I was made to check my carry-on baggage. And so I had to let it go and hope that I sufficiently wrapped it up in soft things so that it wouldn't get chipped or anything. And it made it. And it's up on my shelf, and I'm so stoked. But yeah, I had to wear 4 shirts, 3 pairs of pants, a sweatshirt to make room in my carry-on for that thing. It's freaking huge. I don't know why they need to make it so big. It's kind of funny, but I'm glad it's here. I have it up on my shelf, so that's pretty cool. That was such a cool moment. If you ever go to Gen Con, I highly recommend going to the Dice Tower Awards. It's so much fun. So last year I went, and I was in the very, very, very back row. I just like snuck in towards the show had already started. I was at an event previously, and I just kind of snuck in the back row. And then this year, I was at the very, very front row. So that was pretty cool. Completely different experience. And I'm glad that they gave away the Best Party Game Award earlier on in the night, so I didn't have to sit there and get too nervous the whole time. But that was a huge highlight, and it was really amazing to have Grant be the one to present the award, because he was one of the first people to share Blob Party and talk about it and, you know, say how much he liked it and stuff. And I think that really helped get the word out. So that was really cool that he was the one to present the award. So that was awesome. But how are y'all doing out there? Tell me more about what's going on with you. What are you up to this weekend? Have you had any design wins recently? I would like to hear about some wins, because, yeah, I'm feeling a little down about my one game at the moment. But here's a win. The pacing of the game is a lot better than it has been. So that's a win. So I need to focus on that. That's a big win. I got to go through 2 complete playtests yesterday. That's huge. So I need to focus on that win. But I want you all to tell me, hey, Reggie, I'm over on Twitch. Come over here. I know you won't hear this till 10 minutes from now, but oh, what else? Cedar Point was cool. As I mentioned in my video, I was not in like the best headspace to be around a bunch of people after Gen Con. And it was during the Olympics, and I love the Olympics. And so honestly, I spent a lot of the time watching the Olympics at like this one bar they had where they had TVs showing the Olympics. I just spent a lot of time there just watching it. I did go on, definitely quite a few rides. The lines were still pretty long, but when I was in the line, I was watching the Olympics on my phone, so that was pretty cool. So Reggie over on YouTube Land is saying, your most recent newsletter was really awesome, by the way. Thanks. You're so welcome. Thank you so much for saying that. That means a lot. I'm glad you enjoyed it. As I mentioned earlier, my newsletter this week was about filtering playtester feedback. And I just talked about how to deal with all the feedback that you get after a playtest. It can be like overwhelming, and just that calm your mind by doing something relaxing. Just let all those thoughts like settle. Focus on what problem the feedback is trying to solve, or if there even is a problem to solve. And then really focusing on feedback that will make the game more fun and streamlined. Those were the main things. But then people responded to my newsletter, which I love. I love for it to be like a conversation, like a pen pal, letters back and forth. And people responded saying that, yeah, if they hear the same feedback from different people multiple times, then they'll take that a lot more seriously than it's just kind of like a one-off thing that someone might say. So that's actually made me think of one thing that in this new player mat. This is actually something that one of the playtesters at Gamers Ranch suggested, and someone last night suggested. So I will be trying that out and see how that goes. It's basically like once you have read a certain number of books, things will trigger, rather than if you read a specific book, it will give you an ability. Because right now, all the good cards with good abilities get taken first, and then there's like not so great cards left over. But if the abilities aren't connected to the cards, if it's more just the number of books that you read or cards that you draft, that will then trigger abilities depending on how many books you read, not necessarily if you get the specific book that you need to unlock that ability. So I'm excited about that. I hope that works. We will see. But thanks so much, Reggie. I'm glad you enjoyed that newsletter. If anyone out there wants to sign up to my newsletter, the link is in my YouTube bio, and I think my Instagram bio, and a bunch of different places. But yeah. What else? Gamers Ranch, Gen Con, Cedar Point, Olympics. What was everyone's favorite Olympic event that you watched? And a follow-up, what sport do you think you realistically could become an Olympian in? If it's like all that you did for the next 4 years, what sport do you think you could realistically? I know a bunch of people will say breakdancing, but I don't think that's going to be at the LA Olympics. And that one breakdancer was definitely the exception to the rule. I did watch some of the other battles, and they were awesome. The things that they were doing were pretty amazing. So it is really unfortunate that one terrible Australian breakdancer is getting all the focus and attention, because the rest of them were amazing. As far as Summer Olympics goes, I asked this question to my siblings, and some of them said archery, because it's not like super physically demanding. Hey, there you go. Moon said bow and arrow. I'm sure it's very, very difficult, but realistically could be more achievable than, a marathon runner. I went for a run the other day, and I was just like running pretty fast. For me, I felt I was like sprinting, and I could do it for like, a couple minutes. And I was just like, this would be how fast I would have to run for 2.5 hours to win the marathon. Or like 2 hours, win the marathon at the Olympics. But like, it would need to be even like 2 times faster than what I was running. I couldn't even imagine that. I did it for 2 minutes. 2 hours. My goodness. No, I love the Olympics. And so, yeah, after Gen Con, I really should have just booked a hotel somewhere and just watched the Olympics for like a week or 2 weeks or whatever while I waited for the game design retreat to start. That's why I was hanging around there after Gen Con. I maybe should have just flown home and chilled and then gone back out to St. Louis for the retreat, but I just didn't want to fly back and forth. So I just hung around for like 3 weeks. Hey, Reggie made it. Woo! I am here from YouTube. Welcome. Welcome to Twitchland, where things happen in real time. Unrealistically, which one would you want to try for funsies? That's a good question. Marathon. Oh, no, triathlon. Man, I think the triathlon is so cool. And I just feel like people who win the triathlon are like the ultimate athletes. I guess you could also say that for the decathlon, like people who are really good at 10 different track and field events. But I feel like triathlon, you have to be so good at swimming, running, and biking. And I like most of those things. Like, I really love to swim. I like to run. I don't love biking, but I think I would love to be like a triathloner. How about you? Think you'll come to Dice Tower West. Dice Tower West. Is that Las Vegas? It is, isn't it? I really want to go to Dice Tower East in Orlando, and I'm already thinking about it. So some of the people that I met at Gamers Ranch, there was a group of them, or like a few of them from Orlando, and they were just so cool and so awesome. And I'm so glad I met them. And so I would want to go to Dice Tower East so I can hang out with them again. But then also they go to Dice Tower, so I would know them there. And I've been wanting to go to a Dice Tower event because I just really love conventions that are just about playing games and not just buying games. And then also then I can go to Disney World and Universal Studios. So Dice Tower East. But I would maybe, so Reggie's saying it's in Vegas. I would go to Vegas. You know what I want to do in Vegas? I want to go to the Board Game World Series. Have you all heard of this? The World Series of board gaming is a thing that happens in Vegas. And so you basically can sign up to different events and tournaments. And if you win, you can get to the final. And if you win that, you can actually win money. I don't suggest that I would win, but I think it would be just fun to watch like really good players play these games. Like it's like Wingspan and things like that. I actually told my sister-in-law about it because she's really, really good at games and she like always wins and she's really good at Wingspan. And so she thought about going. So if she went, I would definitely go and cheer her on. And then I think it was Wayne was maybe, I don't know if Wayne is watching, but I think it was Vegas Wayne was telling me about this. That they also have a really fun, just like open gaming area. So yeah, the World Series, that's happening in like a couple weeks though. When is Dice Tower West happening, Reggie? Oh my, yeah, Moon, I'm totally on board with you with pole vaulting. Pole vaulting looks like so much fun. Just launch yourself up so high in the air. And that's a really good one. That would be so much fun. Oh, you know what would be another good one is like high diving, like off the really, really top tower. That is so scary to me. But in this, unrealistic, hypothetical world, if I could be good at that and not scared to do that, man, that would be cool. Like, I don't know how these people have the brain chemistry to jump from that high up. That's scary. Because if you do it wrong, you're dead. You're dead. at in St. Louis, or no, just outside Indianapolis, they have this theme park called Holiday World. I don't know if any of you have heard of this, but it's a theme park, and they have different lands like Halloween Land and Thanksgiving Land and 4th of July Land. And they had a diving show, and they had these people doing dives, and it was really cool. But they had this really high tower, and they said it's higher than the top tower in the Olympics. And some of the people were jumping and diving off of that super tall tower, and it stressed me out. It stressed me out so bad, but that was really cool. So I can't imagine. Oh, it just makes me like, I'm like sweating just thinking about it. Like being that high up and then diving and spinning and making sure you don't land like this. Like, man, that takes some real guts. It's in March. Okay, I think that's maybe another reason I don't go to Dice Tower West, is because my local convention happens in Vancouver in March. So, man, March is busy. It's like Gamma, Dice Tower West, my local convention. Breakout Con in Toronto happens the exact same weekend as my local convention. It's like the two biggest board game conventions in Canada are the exact same weekend every year. Like, y'all need to coordinate that a bit better. So if fear was removed, high dive would be worth a try. Yeah. Moon, did you say that before I said it? We're like totally on the same wavelength right now. Yeah. If there was no fear, man, if there was no fear just going beyond Olympics, I would want to like free solo climb or whatever up the side of a mountain. Man, that stresses me out. Just even watching people do that. Like I haven't been able to watch that documentary, Free Solo. Oh man. Like you would need to train your brain to just not freak out thinking about what you're doing and just like stay focused. And oh man, I just have a lot of, I admire that a lot. And if I could do that and not have fear, like that would be really cool. Hey, Tommy. Any of your games on the shelves at the gaming ranch? No, I checked. Yeah, so I'm responding to a YouTube comment, so I'm sorry, Tommy, you're going to hear this 10 minutes from now. But I checked. They did not have Blob Party. They did not have Chronicles of Light. But they did have Wormspan, and Connie was there. And they did have Creature Comforts, and Roberta Taylor was there. So that was cool. They did have some games by some of the designers who were there. I don't know if they had Charcuterie, but the designer of that was there too, Whitney. So that was cool. And then Dom Pro is asking, how was playing games with Jamie? Yeah, that was pretty surreal, I have to tell you. I was just like, I'm in Jamie Stegmaier's house playing games. Like, we're playing my game. Like, it was very surreal. And he asked me to like sign Blob Party too. I was like, is this real life? Like, what? Yeah, very surreal. Super, super nice. And his gaming group was one of the nicest group of people that I've ever met in my life. Like, they were just so welcoming and so chill and so friendly and so much fun. I was just like, can I move here and just hang out with you all the time? Like, they were so much fun. Great group of people. And then, yeah, Jamie is, like, really, really nice. Just as nice as he seems like he would be. He is in real life. And got to meet his partner, Megan. She was super fun. And then we play tested a new party game idea, actually, that first night that I met them. And that actually went fairly well, and I got some good feedback. And then the next day I went back and play tested my book game that I've been talking about. And that was very surreal, having Jamie Stegmaier play test like a strategy game, just because I respect him so much for like pretty complicated, heavier strategy games. And so that I just had to like stay focused and not like freak out that like Jamie Stegmaier is playtesting my game. But yeah, great feedback. It was him, his partner Megan, and his colleague Henry. They gave me lots of great feedback. So that was really helpful. And it's so funny because like when I was coming up with this idea for my book game, I was like, oh, and you can like move a cube up to simulate reading chapters. That's so cool. And I was thinking about pitching it to Stonemaier. Like I had Stonemaier in mind for this game because I wanted to make like a heavier game because I know they do heavier games. And then I played Viticulture. And in Viticulture, you're moving up a cube to simulate aging grapes and making wine. And so Jamie Stegmaier had already implemented that mechanic like 8 years before. And I'm sure it's probably been in other games as well. But I thought it was so clever. I was going to like impress Stonemaier with this mechanic that they had used in a game many years before. So, yeah. Yeah, you would need to not be scared of heights at all to rock climb. And yeah, most normal people are afraid of heights. You know, it's a natural feeling. I tried to get people to go with me so I wouldn't chicken out, but it fell through. Yeah, it's definitely good to have support to have people help you do that for sure. That definitely helps a lot. One thing I will tell you I will never do is bungee jump. I don't trust it. I don't trust, like, I'm sure they double check everything, whatever, but I don't trust it. And that freaks me out. Like, if something were to snap, if, like, wasn't clipped in correctly. Like, I love roller coasters, and one of the things I love about them is I know that there are safety checks in place so that nothing bad will happen, like, 99% of the time. Bungee jumping, you are relying on humans to correctly like click everything in, and I'm sure they do a great job, but no. But yeah, it was I really appreciate Jamie making the time to like include me in their game night, and then like, you know, suggesting we play Blob Party, and then playtesting my party game. That was really nice. And then suggesting I come back the next day to playtest my book game, and then that's when we played that dungeon making game. That was interesting. So in that game, there's 2 phases. The first phase, you are basically trying to add like hazards and monsters and like just hazards in like on a mat that has different dungeons in it, and they're basically just different shapes of grids, and you're basically putting in like, you know, things to try and trip up someone who might go into those dungeons, to try to make them as dangerous and hazardous as possible, essentially. Then you rotate your mats, so you get someone else's dungeon that they have filled with all these dangerous things. And now you will try to use your cards to go through and clear these dungeons of the hazards and make it out first. Very cool idea. Very cool idea. I did find it was just like really quiet because you're just drafting cards and filling out your boards individually. And then you rotate the cards, and then you're individually trying to, go through your dungeons. So I have no idea what other players are doing. I'm just doing my own thing, which is totally fine. If you're looking for more of kind of sort of like a multiplayer solitaire game, it was very, very cool. I personally prefer more interaction in my games, but very cool idea. Dungeon Maker is what that one was. Yeah, so the book game, how does that go? So basically it is a card drafting engine building game where you are drafting books that will give you abilities, although I'm kind of changing that now, but